had previously been, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I should have waited for that.
Go ahead, no problem, go ahead.
Okay. Cases 1 and 5 on today's agenda were both items or both cases where the board had previously requested that contingency payments be made. And we need to determine whether or not those payments were made. So if we could address those in order, case 1 and then case 5 with the city to see whether or not the city's records show if those contingency payments were made. I'll introduce each one of them, but who will be handling that part for the city?
It's going to depend if my list is correct. If number 1 is that 2406 North Hollywood Street?
Yes, correct.
That is my case.
Okay, why don't we start there? Let me read that case into the record, and then we'll go from there. This is Nicholas Zaporum, last 4 digits of the docket 8390, with an address of 2406 North Hollywood Street. And if you would, again, identify yourself for the record.
Yes, Stephen Wakefield for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, do you have any information on this? According to our notations, it's an old case that the board previously requested a contingency payment of $500 toward the year 2017. And we never got a response that we have on our records in any case that shows whether or not that payment was made.
Yes, so it was made, and the city has actually already gone ahead and reinstated the owner-occupied payment agreement because we saw that you had ordered the contingency payment. He made the contingency payment. So we've already actually reinstated this owner-occupied payment agreement.
Okay, so in this matter,
No
we
action
would
is
be
needed.
appropriate to indicate that this case has been handled according to our requests and there's no further action needed?
That is correct.
Is that correct? Do the other board members, having heard that, concur?
Paula Weiss, I concur.
Dominic Ward, I concur.
Ryan Boyer, I concur.
Josh Matthews, I concur.
Okay, and Nancy Cameradiner, I concur. Okay, thank you. That takes care of case number 1. We have a similar situation, we believe, anyhow, from looking at our records for case number 5. This is for James Fullwood, last 4 digits of the docket 7929. Property address is 2218 Latona Street. And our records show that the board previously requested a contingency payment of $1,375 toward the year 2021. Do you have this matter as well, Mr. Wakefield?
No, this is Linebarger.
Okay, is someone on the call at this point from Linebarger for this matter?
If you give me a second, I can actually look and see if there's a payment.
Okay, that would be very helpful.
So
We'll bear with you until you have a chance to check it out.
sure, there is a payment of $1,394.06 was made on March 28th of 2022.
Okay, well, that is slightly higher than what we have in our notes from, and it was a payment toward 2021. Is that what it was applied to?
Well, let me just be 100% sure about that. Give me a second.
Because the payment requested was $1,375.
Right, but and our notes show that it went towards the year 2021. What has been read into the record from the city is an amount that was just a few dollars higher than that, so it certainly meets.
They paid a bunch of earlier years because they didn't come in and do a specified payment, so it actually went to like the oldest.
The oldest outstanding amount?
Outstanding amounts, but they did pay, just again for the record, $1,394.06.
Okay.
So Mr. Wakefield, were they re-entered into the OOPA program? Or they just?
No, because since this is a Linebarger case, we didn't have any notes or anything like that. So if the board, enters the order, when we get the order, we'll recall it from line because now all OOPAs come back in-house. So what'll happen is once you give the order, we'll recall this from Linebarger and we'll put them in an OOPA.
So does this look still appropriate for OOPA? based on those payments?
They did make the payment that they were directed to make. And I don't, obviously, we don't have any history to see if they're multi-delinquents or whatnot. So the city wouldn't have an objection to putting them back in at this time.
Oh, okay, so you have no objection then?
No, we have no objection.
So then should our decision, Nancy, should be re-enter them into the OOPA program? Or to grant their petition to be reinstated to OOPA?
I would think that that would be the case, and that it will be implemented by discussion between the city's law department and Linebarger, because this matter was with Linebarger, but it'll get resolved between them.
Yeah, so if you just enter the
Side
order,
notation there.
yeah, if you just enter the order, then we will we'll reinstate it and we'll pull everything back.
Okay, so that basically our decision is that the board notes that a payment in conformance
actually-
with our request has been made.
Nancy, actually, when I look at the notes, you also directed them to transfer the property into their own name.
Oh, that is not in the notes that I have before me right now.
Okay, it's in the note that appears in tips.
You know what? Can I interrupt, quite honestly, because of all of these missing pieces? I would
Continue.
recommend either that or deny it for failure to appear. They should have been here. He hasn't complied. He knew he should have been here. We don't know what's going on. I'm not comfortable I mean, we could continue it, Ryan. I would be okay with that too. I think I'm not comfortable making any other decision either to continue, other than to continue it or deny it for failure to appear. And
I would agree with that.
he can actually always go into revenue and set up an OOPA if in fact he is.
Yeah, let's deny it to clear our case.
No, okay, but now, from what the previous, from back in December, there's documents showing that the property is being put in his name.
But he's not here and we don't have that
By Lisa
document.
Bender.
He said, but he's not here.
Do we have any evidence at all that the property was put in his name? You said that we had
I'm gonna-
something in December.
I'm checking that right now. No, the last deed that's recorded was 1992. And he was actually supposed to do, so the actual note saying that he had to do this is from 2019. This is a pre-COVID case. So in December of 2019, he was given 90 days. It has now been
3 years.
It's now been about 950 days.
Right, I was just gonna say, it's about 3 years.
Yeah, but my concern is that he was working with Lineberger. The city just said on the record it was a Lineberger matter, and now that it's reverted back to the city. So what happened with Lineberger that we don't understand or know?
Well, what reverts back to the city is all OOPAs become recalled to the city, right? So Linebarger no longer manages any. So normally they appear for these OOPA hearings because they have all of the information, right? But once you guys grant an owner occupied payment agreement, Linebarger ceases to manage the account and it comes back to the city.
Okay,
So
so
I have the notes. I only have the tips notes for this case. And the last hearing that you guys had in 19 said he had to, that he had to do certain things. And then there was like a during COVID hearing that was just continued. And even there, like, his payment to us was after 90 days after those 21 hearings.
So Mr.
So-
Wakefield, am I incorrect though in thinking that if he in fact puts that property in his name, he's made a payment, he shows up, he is still eligible to apply for OOPA in the future, is that correct?
Well, no, because he had the OOPA in his own name as an equitable owner,
Okay,
right? So this is his default. Now we may catch it, we may not, right?
well, that's a different story.
If he just comes in and says, here's my new deed, chances are somebody in revenue is just going to give him an OOPA. But I can't guarantee that he would have that he would have eligibility.
Have an opportunity. Well, I'm not comfortable granting it at this point. So, I mean, as I said, if Ryan says continue.
Let's continue it to get more information,
All
Paul.
right, can we continue it with no further hearings?
Yes, continue with no further hearings.
I would
Now,
concur with
okay,
that.
one thing he's had several contingencies on it.
Right.
I mean, he's had several opportunities. He should have been here.
Well, let's deny for failure to appear if he has several continuous. We got to be taken serious.
No,
I
can we
recommend that we-
take it under advisement and ask the guy to provide the documentation for ownership?
We have. I mean, we gave him all this time when we continued with the last time.
Deny for
city-
failure to
Then
appear is
deny.
not.
Denied, we'll deny that.
Denied.
Denied.
failure here. I'll concur with that as well.
Okay, so we've got Ryan and Paula, and was that George who also concurred?
Yes,
And what about you, Dominique?
I concur with the denial.
Okay, and I will join the majority here. So we're marking this as denied for failure to appear.
Are we going to mark it no further continuances?
We're not continuing it. We're simply
Well-
denying it for failure to
Or
appear.
no further hearings? I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Oh, no further hearings? Do you want to append with that?
Yes, I'm good. No further. I'll amend my original motion.
I would concur.
Anyone else concurring?
I concur as well.
me too.
Okay, so I think that's unanimous. So we're denying that for failure to appear and no further hearings.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And where do we stand, Milton? Have you been able to check in the interim here to see if cases 2, 3, or 4 have anyone who has appeared?
I will go back out and check.
Okay, and I would ask while you're checking that, if the city would double check to see if they have any notations in their files regarding cases 2, 3, or 4. We'll come back and start with 2 in terms of where we stand once we know whether there's anyone on site.
Okay, I can actually give you an update. 3 and 4.
Okay, why don't we
They've
wait a
already-
moment until Milton comes back, just in case they happen to be there. There'll just be a momentary pause here.
Okay.
All right, as of 2:20, I mean, at 2:18, no one else has shown.
Okay, then we'll go one at a time here. If anyone shows before we finish, we can see about dealing with them. But case number 2 is Roman Marcinek, last 4 digits of the docket, 7842. Property address is 4514 Tobit Street. Who has this matter for the city? Is it you, Mr. Wakefield?
Yes, Stephen Wakefield for the city of Philadelphia. Do you need the numbers for the record?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Okay, it's tax years 2014 to 2022. Principal's $15,149.50. Interest is $5,219.03. Penalty is $921.51. Other is $2,753.89. For a total of $24,051.93. We would ask that there being no one here, that this be denied for failure to appear.
Do you have any indications, or were they going for an OOPA at any point, or where does this one stand?
So they had an OOPA in 2003. I mean, in 2017, they had a tier 3 in 2017, which they defaulted on. They defaulted on it almost right away. And this is an appeal from that default. So, I mean, this is incredibly untimely as it is, because it looks like it was appealed maybe 3 years after the default. We also got some calls in the meantime about somebody saying that they now own the property and they wanted to pay it off. We didn't get a name. They were just, so we don't know if that's fraudulent or not, but somebody did call and say that he had bought the property.
Have you
So-
checked the records through the system to see whether or not there's any other name that's come up?
No, there's not. I do note, however, that the appellant in this case has a different name than the property owner. So the property owner is this Marcinek. But when you look at the, there's a different name in the representative field or whatever.
There's a different name on the petition.
Right. And so
That's right.
and there's no, I don't have any indication that there was ever an equitable owner, oh wait, there is equitable owner. Is it Raymond Nolte? So he had to also get under the terms of the agreement, he had to transfer the property into his name by 2019. And
Okay,
it's now 2022. He has not done that. So I would ask that this be dismissed.
I would recommend we deny for failure to appear.
yeah. And really for not taking actions that were requested on previous occasions. I don't know that we need to add that, but that's really, I'll say, at least a notation to the record for us. Does anyone have anything to add? Any board members?
No, I deny.
I
George?
concur.
Dominic Ward concurs.
Okay, I was gonna say, did we hear from the other side there? Okay, and Nancy Cameron, I concur. So we're denying for failure to appear and for also not following through on requests that were made previously by the board. Okay. And let's see, that brings us to case number 3, Michelle Martin, last 4 digits of the docket, 8648, property address is 4927 Duffield Street. Do we have any information from the city on that?
Yes, so we saw that they actually were granted that they had made the contingency payment just prior to COVID. So we entered them into a new, like we figured that out and we entered them into a new agreement in April. So this is no action needed.
Okay,
Because they are currently in a tier 3 agreement.
currently in a what?
A tier 3.
Oh,
OOPA.
tier 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Our notes simply said that it was first filed in 9/18, did not appear. The second hearing was a contingency, but they failed to meet the contingency. 4th and 5th hearings were continued. I mean, we don't show that action that you do. So I'm glad to hear that they have actually taken hold and worked with the city to enter into an agreement. And from our perspective, since there's no action needed, we just need to concur that we're not going to take a more formal vote. Is that correct? There's nothing.
I'm
we
going
need to-
to concur with no action needed, Nancy.
Okay.
Yeah. I concur with no action needed.
I concur too.
I concur, no action needed.
And I do as well. I've marked it, no action needed in my own notes. Okay, that's case number 3. Case number 4 is LG Woods, Last four digits of the docket, 7806. The property address is 1919 East Chowton Avenue. Our notes show that it was denied at a lower level hearing for failing to meet the contingency and has been continued the last two board hearings. Is there any other information that's been provided to or by the city?
Yeah, so they got PLA involved, and PLA convinced the city to get them into
PLA?
a tier. Yeah, Philadelphia Legal Assistance.
Oh, okay.
And so they worked with them, and they're now in a tier 5. So
Oh, okay.
so no action needed.
No action
So,
needed.
so no action needed here?
Correct.
Okay, do other board members concur?
Paula Weiss, I'll concur with the no action needed decision by the board.
Ryan Boyer, I concur.
Dominique Ward concurs.
George Matthews, I concur.
And I'll add my concurrence as well. Okay, that, as far as I know, covers all of the items that we had today. Is there anything that needs to be added either by the city or by the other board members?
No.
Okay, it doesn't look like it. And that being the last item on our agenda, thank you for all. This hearing is adjourned.
Thank
Everybody
you.
have a great afternoon.
Have a great afternoon. I'll see you
Right,
guys
take care,
Thursday.
everyone.
On Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.